Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine. I hope I inspire you to give a little paper crafting a try this holiday season. For this project, I am going to be working with our Tone on Tone seasonal sightings paper and a piece of our cranberry solid red cardstock. This is the red sheet I've picked out for this project. We're going to make a gatefold Christmas door card that Crystal Best designed, and I saw it and really wanted to give it a try. You also will need one of our 4x6 mats from our Seasonal Sightings mat pack. You can use cardstock in the middle, but I just thought this added just such a beautiful sentiment to our card. I am going to cut it down just a little bit. You will see when we get to that point. And I've also pulled some of our Seasonal Sightings stickers and embellishments as well. For the card base, we need 8.5 by 5.5 inches. So I'm going to go to 5.5 inches on my trimmer. In order to do this without the arm pulled out, you just go to the end of where the arm usually is. I will show you both ways. So that's 5.5. Whoops. And when you pull out the arm, you can see 5.5 is right here in this little dip. And that pretty much matches up exactly with what we did with the arm closed. You just, when you fold this in, you'll see there's an end here, and you just tuck your paper up to the end of it. And then we also do need, I need the arm out, 8.5. So let's go ahead and turn our paper and cut it 8.5. And in case you're thinking my trimmer looks a little bit different, it does. This is our special birthday trimmer that they came out with. Our regular trimmers look like this. And so you can see we usually have the black writing on it on a white background. And this one has a dark blue background with white. And they're both really easy to work with and, you know, easy to follow. I just thought I'd give the birthday one a try, since it's Try It Tuesday anyways, and giving it a go. So I switched out my blade to my scoring blade because we need to add panels to our card. And we need to score it at 2 1/8. So the 1/8 of an inch, okay, is in between obviously the 2 and 2 1/4, and it's the longer line. We have these little shorter lines, and then we have a little bit of a longer line in between the 2 and the 2 1/4. And so that's where we are going to score this. You just want to go over it maybe 3 times or so. You don't want to cut through the paper, and I'm actually just going to turn it and do 2 1/4 again. On Crystal's instructions, she had 6 3/8, and I just, you know, kind of have to do my own thing here a little bit. It should be exactly 2 1/4 because our cards are usually, the A2 card is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And so half of 4 1/4 is 2 1/8, and that creates our door that we're going to make for our bifold door card. All right, I'm going to switch back to my straight blade here because we need to cut some panels for our door, and I need to pay attention to how I'm cutting this because this paper is directional. And I do want the stripes running vertically on my door front. I actually am going to eliminate one of her steps. She did a 3-layer door panel, and so she had a paper here, she had a 2nd layer of paper, and then a 3rd layer of paper. And I'm just going to do 2 because I just... honestly, I think sometimes I feel like it gets to be too much paper. So I tend to be a little frugal, and, you know, it's okay. If you want to add that 3rd layer, go ahead. Her video is linked in my description box below. You're more than welcome to go and check it out as well. I am actually going to follow the cutting instructions for her layer 1. And that means that I need, so she offset hers. It's really weird because our 2 panels should be the same. And I think she has a typo in her instructions. So I'm going to do 3 by 1 7/8 twice. So let me get to 1 7/8. So 2, 4, 6. So it's just before we get to the 2, and it's again that longer line. So 1 7/8 is right here in between the 1 3/4 and 2. Yep, because we're in between our grid lines here, and we also have marks at the bottom of our trimmer as well. And trying to make sure I'm more precise with this here. So that's 1 7/8, and then we're going to go by 3 inches for both sides of our door. So just because it's Try It Tuesday doesn't mean I have to try it exactly like how the person did it, right? I think I mentioned that in one of my other projects as well. It is what it is. I can't help it sometimes. Let's see, well, this 3 inches. Oh, because she's doing the bottom and top panels. So here is for the bottom panel of our door, and then we do also need, that's why it was 2 different sizes. Okay, so we do need 2 of each. So we did need 2 of each anyways. Okay, so now I know why she's the 2 inch. So 3, and that'll give us that little bit of space in between. Okay, there wasn't a typo. This is what happens when you're trying it while you're filming it for the first time. So here we go. Here's 2. All right. Whoops. And that happens. Sometimes I don't push hard enough because our trimmer is based on actually pushing down to get the blade to activate. You can see it as I push down on there, and sometimes I just don't push hard enough. And I know it, and it's okay. So usually I try to wait to move the paper to make sure I've gotten through it far enough. And that is not quite all the cutting. Hang on, I've got to cut down my mat just a little bit, because remember I said our mat was a 4 by 6 mat, and our card is 5 1/2. So I need to take 1/4 inch off of my card. I actually think I'm going to take, yeah, let's see, do we want to take the 1/2 inch just off the top? I think so. We've got enough string there. I don't necessarily mind the little bit of extra white at the bottom, so let's just take the 1/2 inch off the top. There we go. And that is just for something else sometime. So there we go. Okay, and then I also wanted to do white panels inside the doors. So let me grab a piece of white cardstock. You know what, I'm also going to take a little bit off. So we took the 1/2 inch off the top. I think I am going to take the 1/4 inch off the bottom. So that way we do have it where we can see a little bit of the red around each side. So to get to the 1/4 inch, you just line it up with the end of your cutting mat. And let me make sure we have this cutting guide. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to go through my writing at the bottom there. So I took 3/4 inch off of my mat from my mat pack, and I think that looks better because you can see that little bit of red framing it out all the way around, just like our door is going to get framed as well. And now I need to cut a little bit for the inside panels. So for that I need the 1 7/8 inches again, and then I need to do it by okay, 5 1/4 is what she did. White layer for writing is what she called it. So 1 7/8 is right before you get to the 2 again. Here we go. And then we're going to turn it and go at 5 1/4. And this one is better to do at the top of the trimmer So let me make sure I'm getting to the correct line here. Yes, it is this last line on the ruler at the top. You can see that there is no grid line for 5 1/4, so you do need to do it at the top. I usually do try to wear out my mat a little bit more evenly by not cutting all my cuts at the top of the mat, and then you wear this out first. And you want your entire cutting mat to wear out more evenly. I can show you one of my ones that's more worn out, and you can see there's a few dots here and there, but not too much left of the darker dots, just because a lot of times I do cut down lower and it just works. Up to you. I mean, the mats aren't very expensive to replace, but again, I tend to be frugal. So here we go. Let's grab our tape runner and go ahead and start placing our pieces into our card. This is fun. I know I actually just, when I saw this card, I just thought it was very clever to create a door and to do this. Make sure I'm straight. There we go. And I just thought this was just a really, really pretty Christmas card that you can send anybody. It fits into the standard A2 envelope, and which also are Creative Memories blank card kits. Have the blank cards are also the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You could even do this as with a white base and create something else along the way. Now we're going to decorate inside here in just a minute. I want to get these other pieces on for our door panels. And so you put the larger piece at the bottom, kind of centering it where you have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And I usually tend to eyeball it. If you've watched any of my other videos, you will know I do tend to eyeball things a lot because I just, you know, life's short. You gotta just kind of go for it. Sometimes it's paper crafting. It doesn't have to be perfect. People appreciate receiving a handmade card, and they don't notice if one of your papers is just ever so slightly off. But if you want to grab out your 0 centering ruler or your 13 by 13 cutting mat and make sure it's perfect, go for it. That is your choice, of course. So there we go. That is our door front, and I had picked out this Merry Christmas, which is a little bit long, but I think we can offset it. And you can see I have a little bit of white showing through, but I'm okay with that. So our Merry Christmas actually is in 2 points here. And so I'm gonna put 1 point here and the next part next to it. Because I also need to get out some of our other enameled embellishments. I pulled out this tag, which I thought might be fun, but actually I think I'm going to add this little tree, because you'll see we're gonna have trees on the inside as well. And then I pulled out these little holly berries just to add a little extra interest and pop, but they might be a little bit too big. All right, so I'm gonna grab out some foam squares to add my tree and my little bit of holly to the top part of our door, just so that way it looks like we've added some greenery and some decoration. I also had pulled some stars out as well. I didn't know if I wanted to add a star to our tree, so let me first get the tree down and then we'll see if we add a star to it as well or not, or if that's just going to be too much for the front of this card. Let me pop up this right side though on both of these embellishments. Here we go with this one, kind of going up towards the edge of the card. And then I'm also grabbed out my bone folder so I could add just a little bit more crease to our doors. Let me flip this over as well and get it from the back side. I know I've already just put that other one on, but I think it's okay. We want our doors to stay shut a little bit better, and my crease was popping just a little bit. It'll settle as it goes into an envelope. Oops. Getting off the rest of my backs from my foam squares so I can place my Christmas tree here. And then let's see if a star is going to work. This is one of our stickers. I think that actually repeats our colors from the left side. So I am going to add this little star on here. I'm kind of lining it up with the angle of the actual embellishment. And it stays popped as well because of the foam squares under the tree. So that is the front of our doors. I need to add a doorknob, don't I? Because what's the point of having a door if you don't put a knob on it? And do we put our knob in this red space here? That looks a little bit high, but I think it's okay, and we don't want it exactly at the end. So I'm going to use these gold enameled bits for our doorknob. They are self-sticking, so it makes it easy. So there's our doorknob. That's our door front, and I got those offset a little bit, didn't I? So let me, whoops, pop it up and fix it a little bit so I can get this lined up, because I know I was talking about it doesn't have to be perfect, but when you're looking at something like this, you kind of want them to match. There we go. So there's our doorknob. There's the front of our card is done. And now inside we have this gorgeous deck, these halls. And bless this mess, because Lord knows it does get messy at Christmas. And then I also did have 2 sticker sets. So I do have 2 Christmas trees to place inside as well. And I know we all have friends who decorate and have multiple trees in their homes for Christmas. And I just thought, you know, when we're decking the halls, to me, a lot of times that does mean let's add the Christmas trees and greenery. And so we're going to have our 2 trees inside our doors. We have the tree outside, and this will be perfect to send to one of those friends who is always decorating. Should we add stars to these other trees as well? We've got them. We can. Let's see. Here's this one. And here is this other one. And I am not popping these up. I am just placing them on. That one's they each got a little bit progressively bigger, but that's okay because I think this tree is ever so slightly smaller than this other one. And this one has the small one on the front because we also have the holly berry as well. So that is it. That was a fun card to make. Beautiful. And like I said, I did not add that 3rd layer that Crystal did, but you're more than welcome to check out her video if you want to add an extra layer behind here as well. I just thought with the design on the paper, we didn't necessarily need it. I think it looks complete as it is. You can see the red outline, and there we go. Thank you so much for trying this project with me. Thank you for watching the full-length version of this project. Until next time.